Welcome back to Global with me, Matthew Amariwala. Now, what happens when two creative people collaborate? Can they achieve new heights, or is it a recipe for disaster? Well, I have two extremely creative people in the studio here with me. Dame Zandra Rhodes, British fashion designer who designed for Princess Diana, amongst others. And Joe Swift is a garden designer and television presenter. Now, they came together to design a garden for London's Pocket Park scheme, aimed at giving public spaces a facelift. So, did it all go smoothly? Let's find out. Thank you so much for being with us. It looks wonderful behind me, but tell me just instinctively, when the idea was first suggested of collaborating, what did you really think?
I thought it was a fabulous idea. I mean, I've lived in Bermondsey now for 25 years because I built the museum there, and anything that we can do to enhance the whole of our area, I thought it was a fantastic idea.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I've never actually collaborated with anybody before. I think when you collaborate with a garden designer, it's tricky because you're fighting and sort of, you've both got quite key ideas, but I mean,
so in your time designing gardens, you effectively just always work on your own, do you?
Pretty much, yeah, pretty much, because I think actually the design can become diluted. But when I'm working with someone from a different field, like Dame Zandra, was you know, a real eye opener. You know, I mean, the colours that she chose, I had to respond to as a designer with the plants that I picked, you know, and the colours that we threw in there. So I think it's I found it really exciting. And
well, this looks fabulous behind me, but I just want to show our viewers just the time lapse of the change
of what it looked like originally
engineered, because it is very, very interesting. You can see it there on screen, and you've got a glimpse there just at the start, and we'll show you in a bit more detail in a moment or two. But here you see it coming, and I mean, the colour, I suppose, first of all, is the most obvious change. And Joe was saying, Zandra, you were totally responsible for all of that backdrop.
Well, basically, my museum, which is designed by Riccardo Ligaretta, which is around the corner, the Fashion Textile Museum, is in those colours. So we were able to link and make the area very colourful visually, even before, as a sort of backdrop, even before Joe put in all the flowers.
And for you, colour, presumably, that is absolutely the key to it, is it? I mean, despite trying to link up other sites, what is the thinking behind the choice of colour?
Colour makes you feel happy. I think the colour, I mean, now people start sitting all around there, you know, and it's really very exciting.
And Joe, you made the point straight away in terms of your designing, the garden side of it. I mean, you suddenly had that as a backdrop, locked into it.
Yeah, I mean, I would have probably painted it magnolia or something, you know, really boring, you know, or white or an off grey or something. But the building was, honestly, it was such a dull. I mean, just the visuals at the beginning.
Well, I've got some pictures of what it was like
before. It actually looked a bit like a prison to me.
It was just this brown wall, and the wonderful thing, have you noticed now, it reflects on all... Oh, there you are, what it looked like.
That's how it looked before.
So that's the starting point.
That was the starting point.
So tell me your thinking. So there's all the colour that you have put onto it, and in terms of Joe, in terms of designing, and you've got lots of young children involved in all of this. In terms of designing a garden, I read an interesting thing where you said you talked about a London microclimate. I didn't know we had a microclimate, but how did that impact then on plants?
Well, it's very, very protected, that spot. It's quite windy, but it's pretty much next door to the Shard. So I mean, being a Londoner myself, I know that you can grow a whole range of slightly more exotic plants and get some really wonderful scents in there, you know, smells and perfumes. And the idea really is to try and have something going on all year round. So it's not just municipal planting. We see a lot of stuff that will survive, you know, if a bomb hit it. But the idea really is that this is trying to bring a whole new palette of horticulture to London, that people could think that's a garden. It's not just planted with a load of bushes.
I mention sometimes, you know, the collision, the creative talents colliding. Quite often that doesn't work. I mean, you look at every band, for example, sooner or later they all split up, don't they? They have their creative differences.
We're only on our first album.
Oh, it's our first, isn't it? Yes.
But I mean,
we hope there'll be more.
You know, there are difficulties, aren't there, when two people who have an image in their mind come together? I mean, you have to look at what's happened in the National Theatre. We've had a parting of the ways of creative designer and chief executive. Sometimes these things don't work.
I think we didn't step over each other's lines. I came out with the layout, the seating areas, you know, how the raised beds, the sort of mechanics of it, and then Zandra came up and sort of threw the colours on top as a different layer, and then I responded.
There must be moments where you didn't agree, where you said to her, or
we were very respectful of each other, and I think we liked each other's ideas.
And it was coming along, and we'd be, of course, on the opening. First, our opening press deck poured with rain.
Yeah, of course. Well,
but
you
it
know,
was
London.
good for the
But in the
was.
process, all along the way, each of the sort of zany ideas you sort of went along with, encouraged, try to work out.
I mean, Joe knows what he's doing with the plants, and soon as well, we're going to have plants coming down from the roof itself.
It's only just been planted. The whole thing's going to be covered in plants.
How long's it been there? 6 weeks?
Well, it's only been there. Yeah, this spring it's been planted. So.
It's interesting because it's becoming a trend. I mean, we talk about this in London, these pocket gardens, but I mean, you see it in different countries. Manhattan, we've got some fabulous photographs there of the High Line, which has become so popular, and it's exactly that same theme, isn't it?
Well, horticulture incredibly powerful. You know, in a grim space where all you've got is buildings and tarmac. I've never actually been to the High Line. I've heard it's amazing. I'm trying to get my BBC garden as well. Producer, if you're listening, to send me there to do a film. But Pete Udolph came up. You know,
see, look at that is incredible, isn't it?
And it's meant to be just amazing. And this is, you know, our pocket part, the Greenwood Theatre, is a sort of slice of horticulture and design in a very urban space.
When I first commissioned my building from Riccardo Ligoretta, the architect, I said this is an up-and-coming area, and it wasn't. All the shops were all closed and everything. Then, of course, the Shard was built, and of course you want people to come to the Shard, then think, I'll explore the area.
Yeah.
And there's shops.
So you make a little oasis, and then you expand out of that.
And the oasis is going to grow and grow, and there's another couple of fabulous pocket gardens that are around the corner that people have directed to make alleyways look all right. And places to sit
and appreciate plants and meet people. I mean, you know, there's communities involved, you know, and a lot of communities in the area that use it. So.
Now, just a final thought, because my producer was saying a little earlier, in any combination, in any collaboration, there's a head and there's a heart. There will always be one person who's in control. Which was the head and which was the heart here?
I think you have to say the gardener's in control. I'm just the backdrop.
Well, no, I wouldn't say that. I mean, I guess as far as the sort of mechanics of building a garden is concerned, that's my expertise. But and certainly the whole sort of signature colours that came about were Zandra's.
Well, it is astonishingly beautiful, and I know that lots and lots of people have been just using that space in the way that you have.
Come to Bermondsey.
Come to Bermondsey.
All around the world, they're watching this and they're thinking, where is Bermondsey? And they're trying to find out. Well, Zandra Rhodes
Tube Station.
and Joe Swift, thank you so much for joining us here on the programme. Don't go away, plenty more. All the latest, of course, on FIFA coming up from Zurich in a moment or two. Don't go away.